All right, welcome guys to a great opportunity, the first ever financial fitness virtual boot camp. And so we got a lot of people that'll be on this program and going through it in different levels. But this is the first time ever, but we've got a lot of veterans on the call too. But we've got some brand new folks as well that just started on Wednesday. This is Saturday night, and we are lighting it up here in Columbia, Missouri, and we've got people representing all over the state of Missouri, and then also down in Florida, sunny Florida. So, all right, well, congratulations. We wanted to welcome David Wilson to Financial Fitness and Life, and he just cracked open his green box and starting his financial legacy. And we've got several other people on here that have already started that plan for sure. So I want to take the opportunity to introduce David to the team, and we could all welcome him, and we can encourage him through the Facebook group, the Life Legacy Leaders Facebook group. And that's where this meeting was posted, and then also through Lifeline, which is a part of the marketing system that you can plug into and get basically understand everything that's going on a daily basis. And then also I posted it on the calendar that is available through the marketing system as well. So, all right, well, we just want to kick things off. And so, David, since you're brand new, I was going to kind of ask you a couple of questions and kind of help make sure that if you had any questions in the workbook, but what you made it all the way through part one, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, what was one of the big, did you have an aha moment as you went through part one?
I kind of did. Yeah, there was this one part, I want to say it was in chapter 4 or 5, where that Oren was talking about the 3 things that you can really do with your money. And a lot of people think that there's only 2 things that you do with your money most of the time.
Yeah.
Where it's either you save your money or you spend your money. There's no really other option with the money. Those are the 2 options of what to do with your money. But then he was kind of saying that you break the money down into 3 ways that you can use it, and saving and spending it actually wasn't any of the 3. It was you can acquire things, which is sort of falls under the spending part, which you can go out and get things and spend your money and buy things that you want. Another thing is you can use your money to help yourself accomplish other things, which I thought was really, a lot of people don't really think of that as a way of using money, but in reality, it's like having money is not the end goal, it's a means to an end. It helps you achieve what you want to get. And then also to just contribute, which I think was principle 7, using your money to help other people find happiness, or not necessarily having money for money's sake, but having money to bring purpose and give purpose to yourself and other people. So that's definitely something that I thought really caught my eye.
That's great, David, man. That's huge. Your first time through the program, and you identified that. And I was flipping through the workbook here as you were talking, because I actually highlighted that as I was going through and reviewing, and I was listening to the audio book again just to refresh my memory, and watching the video number 1 in the master class, which is a facilitator's pack that you can use to kind of help coach yourself virtually through the program. And but yeah, that's right. In chapter 3, it talks about that, and then even identifies that again on page 10 in the workbook. So the acquire things, accomplish goals and dreams, and contribute to causes and people in need, the 3 ways that the 3 things that you can do with money. So that's huge, man. That's huge. So did you think about some things that you could acquire, accomplish, and contribute to as you went through the book?
Yeah, like me personally, that was kind of one of the things I was thinking about while I was looking through this. Definitely acquires just kind of me moving on throughout life, like things that most people generally want to acquire as part of the kind of quote unquote American dream. You want to get your house, you want to get a nice car, a nice job, have things, be able to provide for your family, and have a stable lifestyle. And then things, of course, you want to accomplish. You want to accomplish, being able to give back to people, and that kind of accomplish and contribute to me kind of fall under are one and the same, because things that I personally want to accomplish also end up contributing to other places. Like I want to help people. Like I think we spoke on Wednesday. My end goal was to, be able to give back, and how I enjoy helping people and teaching people things and giving them things that will last them a lifetime and make their life better and improve them over a period of time. So for me, that's something that I want to accomplish. That's one of my goals. And in accomplishing that, it's something that I'm also contributing to them,
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. That is beautiful. How about anybody else in chapter 1? And I know we've got a bunch of people that are at different phases of the program, but or at least in part 1, was there anything for you guys that really stood out that you want to talk to the group about, or any goals or any breakthroughs as you read through the information? John, where are you at in the program? I know that you, I think you were going back through it, right? Is that right?
Yeah. Whenever we first got started with life, we started going through it, and then I guess our lives hit a point where we kind of put it all to the side. And we had stopped somewhere, I think it was hang on one second. Chapter 7 is where we stopped.
Okay.
And so we went to the beginning about 2 months ago, and started going back through it. Now we're up to chapter 14 right now.
Great job.
We're getting through it slowly, trying to implement as best we can. One of the biggest things that hit me was actually in chapter 4, which is where the 4th principle is found.
Yep.
Were you wanting me to go ahead and talk about that, or are we still in chapter?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The 4th principle says, stop getting financial advice from broke people and get it only from those whose finances you want to emulate. Mm-hmm. So growing up, my dad was always my big influence in my life. And he's not broke by any means, but he's not in a spot that I necessarily want to emulate. There are people out there who have better finances that I want to emulate more so than his. Mm-hmm. And so we started going through this program, and I was talking to him about it, about getting out of debt as quickly as possible so I can live a cash lifestyle. And his advice to me was, now just because I know you're focused on getting out of debt, don't feel bad putting stuff on credit if you need to enjoy the little moments in your life. And he's coming from a good spot. I know that, because he doesn't want me to miss out on anything because I'm worried about paying off credit cards. However, he's in his mid-50s, still has a mortgage, still has car notes and everything else. I'm like, if I look at, Chris Dorr, you paid off your house. I look at the Fronics, they paid off their house. And the stories are countless. I'm like, you guys aren't even in your 40s. Well, Chris, you are now. Sorry. But, if I could have my house paid off by the time I'm mid-30s, I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
So while his intentions are good, I think his information's a little off. But so yeah, that principle right there really hit home for me.
Yeah, that's perfect. I actually highlighted that in the workbook, and because one of the exercises is to make a list, right, of all the people who you've taken advice from financially in your life that you've emulated their advice from, or basically that you've listened to. Who are the people in your life that you've listened to financially? Mm-hmm. And then make that list. And then as you look at that list, then cross out the ones who you don't want to emulate their finances in.
Yeah, exactly.
And then circle the ones that you do. And I know that when Hillary and I did that, I don't still have our very first workbook that we ever went through. Be interesting to find that workbook. But I know there wasn't very many people at that time, because we weren't associated with a lot of the life community and the financial fitness community, but there just weren't a lot of people in our life that had the financial results that we wanted. And you're right. You know, we take advice from a lot of people who necessarily aren't living the principles, but you know, they don't know what they don't know, right? And we were the same way before we saw or found this program, the financial fitness program, and we're so thankful for that. So that's a huge insight there, John. Thanks for sharing that. Sandy, anything that you'd like to share that in part 1 that you've gone through? That's chapters 1 through 6. Any highlights and breakthroughs for you?
No, not really. I mean, whenever I got in the business, I was already financially free.
Awesome.
I didn't have any kind of loans or mortgage. However, since our house fire,
Oh, yeah.
we had accrued some. So although we didn't have to take out, we did take out a loan on the house to get it started. But as soon as the insurance money came in, we paid it off. So now we really don't owe anything on the house. We do have a loan on my car. But other than anything new in the first 7 chapters, I've implemented just about everything in there before I ever started this business.
Great job.
So, I mean, I don't know how I understood how to do that. I mean, it's a lot of prayer and a lot of soul searching to do it. But yes, and trying to get others to understand is my difficult situation.
Yeah. Well, great job to you for starting that journey early and, you know, working originally before the house fire, you know, to stay debt free and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Sandy. Luke.
You're welcome.
You bet. How about you?
Well, I was just thinking.
A lot of Gibsons. We're getting duplication of Gibsons here.
Yeah, we got 14 Gibsons.
Well, the goal is duplication, right?
That's right. You duplicate yourself.
Oh. You're going to have to mute one of them, Ron.
Uh-oh.
There you go, Luke.
There you go. Well, I was thinking about the, getting advice from broke people. I was raised, going from trailer to trailer in trailer parks and so on. And I definitely had my share of broke people growing up and that kind of thinking. And, I was the type I grew up in a family that they spent their last $20 on lottery tickets. They would go into checking and cash places and get a pay advance and then turn right around and pay their rent-a-center bill with it. Just walk, and obviously it's right next door, so they'd go right next door and pay their rent-a-center bill with it. And then if they have any money left over, they stopped at the gas station and bought lottery tickets. And a lot of that is, in itself is there's a reason why people do that, and it is because they don't understand, the freedoms that we have in this country. They don't understand what the potential you have, and they're under the understanding that in order to make it in this world, that you have to be wealthy or you have to be evil, or you have to be lucky or evil to get money. So they, if you're not going to be evil, you're not going to, rob banks or do anything like that. But so you figure the only way you can make it is luck, because you work hard every day. You're working 2 jobs. You're working hard every day. And so so that was just how I, and, everybody bought lottery tickets. You got in the car and there was lottery tickets all over the floor and all over the seat, and you just never had money, and you had to go up and make those weekly payments, or they're going to come out and take your washer and dryer and everything. Practically everything in our house was rent-a-center. all the furniture, the television, stereo, everything, all the appliances. And it was payment, and just watching them struggle, paying $4,500 for a $200 washing machine, and do that. That would change, and I ended up with, and I did the opposite. So my story is a true story. I got to see both sides, how to not to do it, how to do it. And so I've got side of the family that has tended, and got another side of the family. When they passed away, they left millions, and so it was just complicit just to see how that worked. But definitely that you surround yourself with the people that's going to help you financially, and it's just like what Chris said. You don't know what you don't know. I mean, you don't know that you're getting bad advice until you start getting some good advice. And it's a real eye opener. In my case, it was just that was the hand I was dealt. But in others, you don't have anybody else. The book's all you got. So,
Hey,
so I just wanted to expound on that. That was. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm
Okay.
not for sure if it's my internet that's messing up, but like almost everybody's locked up video-wise on my end. So it was come and go. So
Yeah.
I can see all you guys waving. So it must be you, Chris.
it must be because it's crazy. It's weird, but that's okay. We'll get it figured out.
So
well, awesome.
The first principle was talking about pay yourself first, and that comes directly from the Richest Man in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys have not read that book, I highly suggest you read The Richest Man in Babylon. I believe it's in our book list, and that's a principle that's taught in there.
Yes.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, welcome, Joe Gleason. Well, so one of the things that I highlighted in the workbook and it asks about in the book is on the bottom of page 4. Okay, here we are. Hey, hello. I think I muted him out right as he started talking. Hey, Joe, can you hear me?
I just got done with the meeting up here in Curryville.
Awesome.
Yes, can you hear me?
Are you still there?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah, are you?
We can hear
All
you.
right. We got some sketchy service up here, so I might, I'll be in and out, I guess.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well, welcome, brother. We're just kind of going through part 1 of the financial fitness program. I'm going to mute you out here for a bit while we go through this.
Okay.
And guys, so I went ahead and got rid of my video because I don't know that my internet service is going to let me go through all this with streaming video both ways. So, hi, Robin. How are you? Can you hear me, Robin?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Ron just told me.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Now you're David's mom.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Your son's been doing a great job going through the financial fitness program.
Thank you. I'm really interested. It sounds like a great program.
Yeah, it's a really, really great program. We're glad you're checking things out, and we'll follow up with you after the meeting and see if you got any questions for sure. So, I'm going to mute you
Okay.
out here real quick though, as we kind of go through some of the rest of the information. But if you have anything to share, go ahead and unmute yourself whenever you want to.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
You bet. Well, so guys, I was looking at in chapter 1, in the workbook on page 4 at the bottom, one of the fill in the blanks, the very last one, was what would you do to change the world if you could? Right, and I thought that was a really good open-ended question that I thought it'd be good to have a discussion around. So, what would you guys do to change the world if you could? Obviously, finance is a big thing that would hold us back, but assuming that you've got the time and you've got the money, what would you do to change the world?
Well, one thing that I would personally do to change the world is definitely try to make just information in general more accessible, not necessarily even in the United States, but just as a whole to all these different countries and struggling countries. One thing is like knowledge is like what people like to call the great equalizer, because you can have somebody really with the knowledge of things, the knowledge of not necessarily but just everyday things in life, you can improve yourself and you can improve your life. So even something simple as providing knowledge to people who may not have it, or teaching them different tools and trades and tricks and tips and things like that, can definitely not necessarily change the world as a whole, but you can definitely change somebody's own individual world and change their entire life for the better.
Man, listen to you. How old are you, David?
20.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Your mama has got to have a big old smile on her face right now, because that was impressive. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. We actually, Hillary and I have been talking with a good friend from Uganda, and you're exactly right. It's that information. We over here in the States, we take that for granted so much, and we as Life Company and the financial fitness program, we have this life-changing information so readily available at our fingertips, and we take it for granted. And those guys over there in other countries, they just don't have the books. They don't have the podcasts or the digital audios or the physical CDs that teach the success principles like we have our hands on. And man, you're right. We've got an opportunity to spread this information all over the world to change the globe, basically. So that's great. Anybody else want to share off of that question? What would you do to change the world if you could?
I'll go ahead and answer that. Even though, Ron, did you have something you want to say? All right, go ahead.
Good. Make you wait a long time then. No, I wouldn't go so far. Oh, I don't even think I would go all the way around the world. I start right here. And just this recent issue that's been coming up here lately is just this whole learned helplessness type thing where we just collective of individuals that you have to be willing to get up and want to take advantage of opportunity yourself. I mean, David said it a lot better than I'm probably about to say it, which is we do have an abundance of information, and it would be great to make it available to people worldwide because information is what's separating a person from the life that they have to the life that they want. But like you said just now, a lot of us take it for granted because it's right here and it's so readily available to us. I just wish I could just adjust that. I'm not saying everybody's got to build humongous businesses and make $100,000 a month, but just be willing to say, I will take in information that's going to improve that area of my life that I want to improve, and I'll apply it. Whatever the area is, just be willing to do that. And now we become that collective of individuals that we had at the beginning that were willing to put all in to create this country to get free so that we now can enjoy our freedoms at a higher level. It doesn't have to be unnecessary competition or unnecessary corruption and collaboration, stuff like that. That doesn't have to happen because if everybody's putting in and doing the work and earning their part to play in it, then everybody's got a greater level of satisfaction with the freedom that they have. And there's no need to fuss and fight over insignificant stuff because you've done what's necessary to earn that thing that you have. So I just want to get us to a point where we are taking a hold of what we should do and taking our own personal responsibility and handling it on various levels.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Thanks, Ron.
So for me, mine is kind of twofold. I've been listening to Rascal Radio a lot lately, and a lot of what I've been hearing is about the economy and how messed up it is. And so there's two parts of that I would love to change if I could. One would be taking control of the media and making the media say truth, and that's it. Just truth, not opinions, not anything, just truth. So I think that would help a whole lot in society. Mm-hmm. So that's one side of it. The second side would be to take the Federal Reserve and just destroy it. But, obviously there's a whole lot of politics to go into that. But those would be my two biggest dreams if I could. So anyway.
Well, if it's okay with you, I'm going to edit out of the video the idea of destroying the Federal Reserve for your protection. If that's okay.
Sounds good.
I know you're joking. For sure. So. That's cool.
For all the government ears, that was a joke.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring to everybody's attention in the workbook on page 29, basically before it wraps up chapter 5, or the start of chapter 5, actually, it talks about the techniques for effective change, and it kind of goes through and lists some of those out. There's 4 there that it lists there, the enact on the 24-hour rule. And, we always hear about Orrin Woodward, the founder of Life, who, I think we all know the status of Orrin and the monthly income. Orrin's probably one of the top 1% income earners in all the United States. And so even Orrin Woodward has a 24-hour rule. And his dollar amount that he's set, is $500. If it's above $500, he's going to wait for 24 hours before he makes the purchase. And so I was thinking about, for myself, I'm like, holy cow, where would my limit be, right? To enact the 24-hour rule. And should I even have a dollar amount, right? Like, should it just, everything needs to be the 24-hour rule, unless it's maybe food or something like that. So are you holding up your hand, John? Yeah, go ahead, hop on. Anytime you guys have a comment or something to add, just pop yourself off mute and jump in.
All right, cool. I had the 24-hour rule is something that me and Danielle are working really hard to implement. And so I did the percentage of what Orrin makes a month, and I rounded it down to $1 million, divided by 500, and it was like 0.005% of your monthly income. Okay. So for most of us, that would be about 5 cents you'd have to sleep on for the 24-hour rule. But so I was like, if he can be that reserved with his income, I can set my limit to like 50 and be okay. But yeah, it was like 5 cents that we'd had to sleep on, but I just thought I'd interject that right there.
Oh, I am so glad you did the math on that, because I'm glad you told me it was 5 cents, because I was not about to calculate that out. But that's perfect. So yeah, that 24-hour rule, man, I was listening to that today and just thinking about that. And then have an emergency fund. I know Toby and Sherry, they're not on the call right now, but this almost a couple weeks into those guys getting involved with life, and they started tearing through the financial fitness program. And Sherry was just sending us their financial plans, and we were sitting down at least on a monthly basis and kind of going over their game plans, and they went through this entire workbook, the book, the CDs, everything really, really well. And one of the big things for them was they worked on going through and getting that security for that emergency fund sitting in there in their savings. And they took a trip one time up north where Sherry's from. And I think they actually had some trouble with the tires and stuff, and where the car broke down. I think maybe the car broke down right before they were getting ready to leave. And so they called us up. They counseled with us as we were coaching them through that. And we were able to help them realize, that it was something that they probably needed to dip into the emergency fund for, because it was a pretty special event, very significant event that they were going to miss out on if they didn't make the trip. And so they talked with their financial coach, and we all agreed that, yeah, that probably was something that they needed to pull out of that emergency fund for. And she was so thankful that they had done the hard work to get that emergency fund built up. Luke talked about the pay yourself 10% first. What'd you guys think about the couple? There's a story. There's at least 2 stories in part 1 that talks about Tom and Raquel, and they're the couple that was dragging their feet on pay yourself 10%, or they didn't really believe how important that was going to be to pay yourself 10% first. And when their financial coach told them to do it, and a year later, they were nowhere further along because they hadn't been paying themselves 10% first. And so did you guys relate to that story at all, Tom and Raquel's story?
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult, to pull that out and put it over there, especially if you're in a situation where, thankfully you make a fairly decent income. 10% of that is a sizable amount of money, and you see some places where that can go. And I mean, I can't honestly say that we've been super diligent about doing it every single time, but in those times where things have come up, the work that we have done to put something aside or to hold something back, or to, if we got extra in, put it towards a savings or an emergency fund. When things come up, I know I've told Carol, I said, well, we used to have a time and a money problem. Now we just have a time problem. It's not really a money problem. And I mean, you feel a whole lot better about the situation when you can answer the problem, rather than you can't answer the problem and it needs to be addressed. I think most of the stuff that we dealt with recently, obviously in the last year or so, following the principles and all that, just the reason why I take so long is because I just kind of didn't want to spend the money. I mean, it's been there, but I was like, I don't really want to spend it. But, eventually you get to the point where you do spend it. You buy the tires, or you fix the brakes, or you patch the hole in the garage, or whatever it is, and you move on. But you feel better because, you put something aside to prepare for that, whatever that is, as opposed to you didn't prepare for it. It came up. Now you got to fix it, or you got to dip into something, or you got to borrow, or you got to just suffer whatever repercussions you have to suffer. So yeah, them not saving, that definitely has come home for us, because, there have been times we haven't saved as diligently as we should. And you're just thankful that you do when you do have it saved, and it does make you feel a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes a whole lot of difference when when you've been paying yourself 10% first and you're ready for that stuff. Life's a lot less stressful for sure. Anybody else
And
have anything to on
it's
that? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and you don't have to have $20,000 in the account. For most of us, you put $300 or $400 away, and that will solve that'll solve flat tires, that'll solve engine repair, that'll solve your problems you're going to come across. So, you hear people say, I've got 15 grand stored up, or I've got $150 million stored up. You don't have to have that. The meteor is not going to hit your house and take everything with it, and you got to replace it all tomorrow. So what's going to happen is, your water pump on your car is going to go out, or you're going to hit something on the road, you're going to get a flat tire or something like that. So, even a couple $100 at first, even more, you get up to $1,000, it's a world of difference.
Yeah, that $1,000 is kind of the mark that we're all looking for. But you're right, Luke. Even at $300-400, that makes a big difference for sure. So, well, I'm not going to go through all of those. I did want to talk about. I think that the book and the audios and stuff make a really good point. They're really trying to stress the value of when it talks about credit cards. They talk about freezing them in a chunk of ice, right? Like put them in water, put them in the freezer, so that you really have to want to use that card. And I think it's using that, but it's an extreme. But some people need probably that extreme because Ron talked about having the money, but it just the emotional, the loss, the feeling of loss that he feels whenever he spends money. That is very emotional to him. But with credit cards, we've lost that emotion. Ron understands the value of that dollar, and he still understands, he understands currency, and he understands what that card represents. But a lot of people don't understand that. And so I know, like Hillary and I, we carry credit cards. We actually, I don't even think we don't carry a debit card, just because we just never have been transitioned or conditioned to do that. But the reason we carry a credit card is because we've never had a problem with overspending on our credit card. We've always been able to spend within the budget and always be able to pay that credit card off in full every month. And so if you're not able to do that, I think that the book is trying to get your attention to say, hey, here's an extreme way for somebody that struggles with credit cards to control yourself from spending too much on credit cards. And I know that Nicole Hapes, Adam and Nicole Hapes, Nicole was my physical therapist, and she got involved with the financial fitness program and started implementing the information, but she kind of drug her feet at first. She had a vehicle that was way more vehicle than she really needed. She had some credit card debt that she was just paying the minimums on. And it was just really that credit card that she had to get away from. And so Hillary sat down with her and helped her go through and understand the envelope system. And so I know that our world is set up to be really convenient. And there's a lot of things that you buy online and all this stuff, and it's inconvenient to carry cash and do an envelope system. But down here, techniques for effective financial discipline, right? You got to create the disciplines. You got to create the habits of being a good steward of the money. And so if you need to go to the envelope system and go to cash, do it, right? Just because not everybody else is doing cash doesn't mean that they have got the finances that you want. And so that set the discipline for Nicole. And those guys, she ended up selling her truck. She downsized her vehicle. She took one step back to take many steps forward in her life financially. And over the last 2 weeks, or actually Nicole wanted to be a stay-at-home mom before she had her first baby. And Adam, her husband now, they were able to do that by following the process or the financial fitness program. And then here over the last couple of weeks, they've had targeted funds set aside as they've been paying themselves 10% first, 10% first. Then they had targeted savings as well, including that. And they were able to put 20% down on their first house that they're ever going to buy together as a couple. And we were able to drive by that. I've got a day on my calendar set aside to help Adam move all the furniture downstairs into the garage. Hillary and I will be on our family vacation the week that they move. But I've got a day set aside to go help Adam move all that furniture down. And they're going to move into this house that's got a beautiful backyard for their two girls to run around. It's got a nice fenced-in backyard so that Nicole doesn't have to worry about the kids, running off. And they're just so excited as a family. And it's all because they've started this implementing the financial fitness principles. And they started with pay yourself 10%. Then they started with, building up that emergency fund, then that security fund, and then that targeted savings. And so that's a huge success, and now they're going to get a chance to pay that house off early, way earlier than anybody else does out there, that buys a house. So that's pretty exciting stuff there. So one of the things that I wanted to do, I'm going to share my screen here real quick, because I think there's something that a lot of us, we actually kind of forget about, but I want to make sure. Can you guys see this screen up here? You see the milestones over here? Milestones completed? Okay, good. Good. So David and Robin and anybody else that's new here, and I know Joe's got some new people there with him. If you just go to www.financialfitnessinfo.com, that'll take you to this website, and you can anybody can enroll in this for free. I'm already logged in, but you can get a free enrollment into this. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think I've got the master class on this one, but if you don't have, let's see, I might have to reload this here real quick. Sorry about that, guys. But this website is pretty awesome, because if you want a digital copy of the financial fitness program, you can get it here. Hillary and I we prefer the physical copy, so we've just never bought the digital copy. But you can get that there. That master class that I was talking about, we do have the master class here. There's additional audios, and then there's special training videos that you can watch here. So this would be like Rob Robson will be teaching financial fitness here as basically a virtual instructor for you.
And welcome to class.
And so I'm going to kind of mute him out here a little bit, but he does a really great job of teaching through this for you, so you can really kind of help keep yourself accountable. Or if you have a group or a church or something like that you want to facilitate going through this financial fitness program, you can do that through this master class here. And then these audios here, you've got all these additional audios that you can go through, these are all really, really good audios. Some of my favorite audios financially are actually in this Feeding the You Inc. investment hierarchy. That's a really good one. So definitely dig in there, and you can take a look at that as well. And then beyond financial fitness, after you've started getting out of debt, having more money available at the end of the month, then you can start figuring out how to build up an asset base. And this has got all kinds of different previews that you can go through here. Eventually, we'll probably do the same thing as we're doing here with financial fitness. You can subscribe to Wealth Habits here as well. Your Wealth Habits subscription, you can purchase gold through here. And then we've got the financial fitness services. I'll show you the gold whenever it decides to load up here. So you can purchase gold through this financial fitness info website. You can get plugged into the financial fitness services subscription as well. And there's some things that you actually have to set up. This is where you set up your protection, or your legal, or your tracker and your saver. That's where you set up all this stuff as well. And then you can even input, or you get a prescription card, the Zoom package that we're on here, there's a discount there. You can get cell phone discount as well. And this 3 for free, you can get 3 for free through this program also. And then all your budgeting forms you can download over here. So you can see where you can download all those. Also online, you can go ahead and purchase a ream of these already printed out for you. Now these milestones, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. As we recognize or identify where we're at in the program, we can actually identify ourselves as, like, I could put like milestone 4, right, would be basically where, as far as I've gotten in the program, or here we've skipped some of these probably as I was showing somebody, plan some of this stuff. But we could go through these milestones. So milestone 1 is to create a written budget and commit to following it, right? So we've got the 47 principles, but we take those 47 principles and we condense them into 20 separate milestones. So I'd encourage all of you guys to do this. You can even take a little video file and post it to Facebook, Twitter, or Google Plus as you do that, and you can check these things off. Milestone number 2, write down dreams, goals, and have a dream board. And so mark that complete. So over here, we've already marked these complete, but you can mark it complete, just like I'll uncomplete it, and then I'll come mark it complete, and then it checks that milestone for us. And you see where it lets me upload a video. So you can actually have a way to kind of post some of this stuff to social media if you want to. Commit to giving and tithing 10%. That's a big one. So you want to go through and recognize where these milestones are. You can invite accountability partners. So if you got somebody that you want to go through the program with you, go ahead and send them an invite. If you want to add somebody, you put their name, their email, an additional message, and send them an invitation to be your accountability partner. So they can either keep you accountable to go through the program yourself, or they can choose to go through the program with you as well. And somewhere it's on the dashboard. So the profile, language, all that stuff, self-explanatory. But on the dashboard, go through, take this self-assessment test, this financial self-assessment test. And so you can go ahead and do this, and you can see how it's just an assessment. It asks you a bunch of questions. I think it's like 60 different questions, I think, that it asks you. And then it gives you an assessment test on how financially fit you are. And so I would encourage all of us to take this assessment test over the next week. And then we'll figure out another time that we can schedule to do another one of these calls. But utilize this website, take that assessment test, and then if you need help getting through the program, hop on that master class. You can purchase that, and that really, really will help you kind of facilitate through the program. And start using these milestones. I think that's really important. And if you put this information in right here, that actually shows up on the generic page, so that we can all see, like if I were to log out, and you go to your customer-facing website, this total debt eliminated number below this video comes from that little ticker that I just showed you there, where you input the total amount of debt that you've eliminated. So I think that there's a lot of this number, this 10 million number is not high enough. I can guarantee you that, with all the people that have gone through the financial fitness program. It's just that people haven't inputted the amount of debt that they've eliminated using the program. So wanted to bring that to everybody's attention before we wrap up the call. We got about one more minute here because I want to stay into about 45 minutes to an hour for everybody. But anything anybody wants to share before we wrap up the call?
Yeah, I tell you what, if everybody would commit to these principles, and you can all join me in Hawaii here. We got Diamond Head behind me here. It's kind of warm, but about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, It's nice. Come and join me.
Your internet must be pretty slow there, Diamond Head, too.
He wants us to come to the Hawaii where there's no wind.
There's no wind. That's right. There's always wind in Hawaii, is there not?
Yes, there is.
Oh, that's funny, dude. You're taking it to a whole new level, Luke. A whole new level, man. That's great. Well, David, you are the brand new guy, and I want to congratulate you on staying accountable and committed to getting through. Because I knew that was going to push you pretty hard, and so if you didn't feel like you were pushed very hard, then great job to you, because you've definitely been a learner at the age of 20.
A lot of great information, so it's definitely something that I'm willing to push for. It's not something that I'm just feeling like I'm getting something in return. I know it's for a better thing that I'm kind of working towards. So,
And you're an inspiration to me right now, buddy. I tell you what, that's awesome. And I'm gonna have to call you a week from today, because I've got an appointment with a 19-year-old young man, and so I just shared the Financial Matrix book with him, and the first audios out of the first night pack at 6 p.m. this afternoon. And so I definitely want to introduce him to you, since you've already you've just been tearing it up going through part 1 here. So what, David, do you feel like that you could get through part 2 in a week? Maybe we could schedule to connect back up next Saturday at 10 o'clock again, Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, great. If you've got any specific questions about, if there's any information, because sometimes your specific financial information, you kind of want to share that on a personal level, let Ron or I know, and we can kind of help you work through some of that stuff. So if you've got any specific questions on exact things, just let us know, and we'll work you through that. So, but most 90% of what we're going to tell you is all in the book and the workbook and the audios that you're going through and doing a great job on. So 90% of it's right there in the material, and but 10% of it, because you always want to find somebody that you respect that has the financial results, and I would recommend that you make sure that they've gone through the financial fitness program, because that's the program you're going through. You always want to run some ideas by people. If you're questioning, if you can't find the specific answer in the book or the workbook, just get with Ron or I, and we'll kind of help direct you through some of that stuff. So anybody have any other questions real quick? Any financial obstacles in their way this week that they want maybe to ask a question, and maybe we can help guide you a little bit here real quick? If not, we'll go ahead and wrap up the call. And I like that one, Luke. You need an afro, though. That needs to have an afro on right there in a basketball. You need to be.
There you go.
You need to be like palming a basketball right now. That's awesome. Hey, Robin, do you mind if Ron and I give you a call real quick as we hop off this Zoom call? Or let's do this. Let's